that bond was magical. I really never seen my sister be that comfortable with anybody else besides him.
She would talk about him. You could tell that she loved him.
But no love or person is perfect.
We may love a person, but we see their imperfections, and most people can't help but try to fix them.
She would say, well, at least if I help him, he'd be a better person and stuff, because he's a good-hearted person, Mama.
She tried to save him by literally taking him up out of it.
What happens when that person pushes back?
No one likes to be told what to do, so sometimes there are feelings of anger and resentment, and those emotions can bubble over.
And when that happens, there can be disastrous consequences for everyone involved.
A lot of police still out here trying to figure out what happened. What we do know right now, 4 people were shot, 2 are dead. Their bodies are actually still out here as police work this scene.
17th, 2012, Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville is a beautiful place to me. There's a lot of wonderful people, but at the same time, like many cities across the United States, it has its challenges.
I think there's a lot of disparities in Louisville. We still have a very segregated city in the fact that the West End and the East End have very different demographics, and I think that impacts things.
For many years, we have struggled with the violent crime issues here.
32nd and Greenwood is a place that there are, unfortunately, shootings on a regular basis.
And this day is no different. Shortly after 1 p.m., gunfire erupts.
911, I've heard you, Johnson. What's your emergency?
Location of the emergency.
Someone's been shot. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky on 26th.
Okay, is it a shooting, ma'am?
Kentucky. I'm breathing.
Okay, ma'am.
911 is flooded with calls reporting a shootout.
Numerous police officers are dispatched to the corner of 32nd Street and Garland. When they arrive, they find multiple victims, 2 who appear to be deceased. They really don't know who the victims are and what happened, so they set up a perimeter and begin the investigation.
Police scanners are quickly filled with reports of the shooting, attracting the attention of reporters, including Jamie Weiss.
I, on that day, was actually working on a different story. We weren't having much luck. So when the call came out on the scanners about a shooting, we were the crew that was assigned to go to that scene and find out what was going on. I think they may have told me that there were several people involved, but outside of that, when you hear shooting, you go and you don't really ask any more questions until you get there and figure out what's going on.
When Jamie arrives on the scene, she is startled by the number of bystanders.
There were a lot of people out. It almost seemed like a large majority of the neighborhood was out there, and it was of every age. There were children out there were adults out there, a large crowd, which was really unusual.
After talking to police officers, Jamie goes live to report numerous victims.
We actually just spoke with police, Dawn, to try and clarify exactly what happened. Let me show you the scene here. 32nd between Greenwood Avenue and Kentucky. A lot of police still out here trying to figure out what happened. What we do know right now, 4 people were shot at.
Towards the end of that live report, there was a woman who had shown up, and she was very emotional. She was making a lot of noise. I referenced that in my report. I was not able to make out what she was saying. I honestly was focused on doing my report and blocking that out, honestly, because it was so loud. But I know that she was being held back by somebody else and kind of waving her hands in the air. We went off the air. We were recording right in front of our truck, so we were only a few steps away from it. The woman that had been screaming stopped screaming as far as I was aware, and we couldn't see her anymore.
Jamie and her cameraman reached their truck and prepared to record some video of the scene.
The photographer I was working with was getting his camera ready to shoot video, and the next thing I heard were some pops.
Startled, she gathers her senses and jumps into the back of the van for cover.
I was terrified when I realized they were shots. I didn't know where they were coming from. I didn't know if bullets were gonna come through the van. I looked up and there were police running past the doors of our truck that were open with their guns drawn. It was complete chaos. We did not feel safe. We didn't know what was going on. So I could see people in the field next to us getting down on the ground, and there were police officers screaming.
Jamie quickly shifts back into reporter mode and chases down witnesses and police officers. She learns the shooting is connected to the woman who was screaming during her news report.
It's just a horrific tragedy for the community. 6 people shot in one day. And police have no idea what in the world is going on. Who are the victims and why have they been shot?
Neighborhood, less than 90 minutes apart, have police perplexed and residents stunned.
Police are still processing one scene, trying to find out who the victims are and who shot who, when another shooting breaks out. And everyone is wondering, are the shootings connected, or is it just a random act of violence?
When you look at that footage, and I did, and others have, it's beyond heartbreaking, because you knew media was down there. You knew law enforcement was down there. And it's the unthinkable that happened, to be quite frank with you, that you couldn't imagine that that could occur in that fashion.
Relatives of the victims quickly hear about the shootings. For Jacqueline Goldsmith, it's a call no mother wants to get.
That day, May 17th, 2012, I see my girlfriend in the store. She's at the store too, and we're talking. And I get the call that something's went down on 32nd with Chitara, and we left. The next thing I know is I call my husband and tell him what's going on.
Desperate to learn what has happened to her 24-year-old daughter, Chitara, Jackie and her friend race to the emergency room.
Well, as we're driving to the hospital, I'm telling my girlfriend, my baby might be dead and all of that. And she says, oh, you don't know that yet, Jackie. We got to get to the hospital.
But at the hospital, no one will tell Jackie what has happened.
They wouldn't give me no information for a while. They wouldn't let me see her or anything. It was rough, and all I could think about was, is my daughter alive? Is she gonna make it?
Chitara Goldsmith was born in 1994 in Dayton, Ohio, the youngest of Jacqueline Goldsmith's 3 children.
I was 18 when I met Chitara's father. I was living in Dayton with my auntie, Joyce. Chitara's father and we ended up moving to the projects in Dayton because that was the place that we could afford to live, you know. So after a few years, my husband got involved with a bunch of stuff that was going on out there, and so it wasn't a good environment for my children. So I left my husband and brought them back here to Louisville, Kentucky.
Chitara's childhood was a happy one, and her church family played a central role.
She used to love the church. And when she was a little girl, she used to sing in the choir and stuff. I think of things like that when she was really happy.
When we was young, my sister used to be what they call a sunbeam. That's how she started out. She started out with a little bitty kid that was singing. Then she graduated to the choir. Any kind of program that could get us outside of the hood, my mother pushed us toward it.
I was a single parent, and I was raising Chitara, Morris, and Christopher by myself. Being that I'm a nurse, I used to work 2nd and 3rd shift, and my roommate would stay at home and watch my kids. But, you know, you don't make a lot of money, so you have to live where you can afford to live.
Like many residents of poor neighborhoods, Jackie's children had a front row seat to crime and violence.
When my daughter Chitara and my son Morris were little, they were at home. They were looking out the window and they saw some terrible things which would affect anybody.
So me and my sister, we were about, I have to say, about 5 or 6 years old. She used to sit out and just watch them people. She used to watch them play dice. And there was an incident one night. I'm laying in the bed. My sister comes and I was asleep. She wakes me up. Brother, come here. I come to the window, and she's like, somebody just got shot. So me and her sit in the window, and we literally looking out the window, peeping down, and I can see the guy laid out. I really think that impacted her very negatively. I think it like stifled her vision of the world, seeing somebody get taken so easily and her being so young. It changes how you look at things. That was a very pivotal moment because I think that's the moment where she changed, where her outlook on life, period, changed.
Despite her early brushes with violence, Shatara was determined to make the most out of her life.
Shatara attended Jefferson Community College. I think she was going for business administration. She had a job at Kroger's. She was in the bakery.
In early 2012, Shatara began dating 22-year-old Craig Bland Jr.
He was a nice little young man. She brought him to the house. He was very respectful and everything.
The first time I met Craig, it was on Christmas. It was on Christmas Day, and my sister called us and stuff. She's telling us like, yeah, I'm bringing my boyfriend through, right? So we like, man, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? He had a quiet demeanor, but I didn't feel any bad vibes from him. He was just chill. We ended up eating and chilling. Man, it was a good day. He was a good guy.
Shatara told me that she liked him and she was trying to help Craig because, you know, he didn't have no mother and father. So that's what drew Shatara to Craig.
Like many in the neighborhood, Craig had witnessed more than his share of violent crimes, including one incident when he was 15 years old.
What happened was CJ was going to school one day. He called his cousin BG. BG was somebody from down in the hood. They pulled up to the shorties on 34th, around 34th Street in the West End, and he ended up getting shot. CJ witnessed who did it, and he was young at the time. He ended up having to go to court over it, and he ended up getting on the stand and telling on who the guy was. So of course, you know, that gets you labeled a snitch in the streets. Everybody turned against him. It messed him up, and it was really impactful for him, man. Changed dude's life, man. I think about that a lot. No one's gonna accept you doing things the right way. What other way is there to do it? And he was kind of forced into it at a young age. We're talking 14, 15 years old, forced into it.
The shared experience of witnessing a murder strengthened the bond between Craig and Shatara.
I feel like she feel like, hey, I feel your pain. I know where you're coming from. Not sympathizing with him, but empathizing with him. I feel you. I think that was one of the major factors of why she tried so much, because she didn't want to just save him for him. She wanted to save him for her too, for both of them.
While Jacqueline Goldsmith tries to get information about her daughter, Shatara's brother, Morris, also learns about the shooting.
I was at school at the time. I didn't know about anything until I got home. And the first thing that I knew anything about any incident had happened was my mother texted me and said, your sister is dead.
As Louisville police work to uncover the motives behind several shootings in the West End, family members struggle to learn the fate of their loved ones. Believing his sister is dead, Morris Goldsmith decides to head to the crime scene.
And when I got down to 32nd, man, the scene was just, it was crazy. Like, it was like cars put in the middle of the streets, the doors are still open and stuff. Like, the police lines wrapped around everywhere. You can't even get through. So I get to the scene where it actually happened, and the police detectives was like, no, you can't walk through, you can't be over here to be investigating. So I'm mad.
As Morris walks back to the car, an officer follows.
So when we get to the car, that's when the police officer tells me, listen, your sister's not dead. Cause I was like, man, is she alive? Is she this, she's that? They said, no, she's in critical condition, but she is alive. She's at the hospital.
Morris races to the hospital and finds a scene that is equally chaotic. Morris asks to see his sister, Shatara. He's told she's in surgery and in critical condition.
My brother's already up there. And when I say my brother was like breaking down, he was like breaking down so bad because this is his little sister. He breaking down so bad that he's just like crying, like on the floor, crying, you know, hitting the floor, all that. And I had to get my brother and say, hey man, like, gain your composure, you know what I'm saying? We gotta stand up, like we gotta be here, we gotta be strong.
You can feel all the tension in the air. And I was scared that Shatara might not make it. And I was upset that all these people had died. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like you're there, but you're not there. And I remember my stepmother saying, she's gonna be all right, Jackie. We're gonna pray for her.
After several hours of nervous waiting, the Goldsmith family finally gets good news from the doctors. Shatara is out of surgery. It appears she'll make a full recovery. But their happiness is short-lived. Police inform them that Shatara was wounded after killing another woman.
They said Shatara shot the girl, and that's why the police shot her. And I was like, but why would Shatara just do that? You know what I'm saying? And then I said, something's gotta be wrong, because it's not something she would just do just to be doing. I said to myself, in order for her to do something like that, something had to really, really, really been wrong.
By now, investigators at the scene speak to witnesses and identify the woman Shatara shot as 24-year-old Makiba Lee. Makiba was born in West Louisville and grew up in the Parkland neighborhood.
She was a happy child and always smiling. She loved to read and play games with family and friends.
After graduating from high school, Makiba began dating Tyson Mims.
Tyson Mims had a bad reputation. Tyson had a long rap sheet of crimes, including drug possession, concealing a weapon, and witness tampering. At one point, he was arrested for murder, but the charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. If Makiba Lee really wanted to make something of her life, then Tyson Mims was the last person she wanted to be involved with.
In late 2010, Makiba found out she was pregnant with Tyson's baby, and in 2011, she gave birth to their son. But fractures soon formed in their relationship.
I think Makiba probably wanted Tyson to settle down a bit, maybe get a regular job and help raise their son. But not many bad boys want to do that. So Makiba decided to break things off for a while so she could focus on being a mom.
Becoming a mother also helped Makiba refocus on her future and becoming a better provider.
With the help of her family, she was preparing to enroll in Jefferson Community and Technical College to earn a degree in nursing.
Back at the scene of the second shooting, detectives struggled to uncover a motive. Detectives go back to the hospital to interview Shatara, but she's not in any condition to answer questions.
She suffered several serious gunshot wounds and lost a lot of blood. And as a result, she was heavily medicated by doctors and slept most of the time. So she was really of no help in the investigation.
Investigators working the first shooting continue questioning witnesses and are finally able to identify the two male victims as Craig Bland Jr. and Tyson Mims.
How did Craig and Tyson end up dead? And did their murders have something to do with Shatara shooting Makiba?
As detectives question more witnesses at the crime scene of the initial shooting, they are finally obtaining enough information to put some of the puzzle pieces into place.
Several witnesses said that Tyson pulled up at CJ's house, hopped out of the car, and pulled out a gun. Tyson had some friends with him. CJ was on the porch also with some friends. And then all of a sudden, people started shooting.
Tyson shot CJ in the stomach, and CJ shot Tyson in the face. Both CJ and Tyson sustained very serious wounds, and both are dead before paramedics arrive on scene.
For Craig Bland, it's a tragic end to a violent life lived on the streets of Louisville. Craig and Shatara had only dated for a few months when the relationship moved to the next level.
Craig was one of her first serious boyfriends. And I think that was her first real adult relationship she had.
CJ and Shatara's bond was magical. She felt compelled to be there for him, no matter what. And she lived by that, no matter what.
Shatara knew she'd found the one and fantasized about spending the rest of her life with Craig.
My sister always wanted to be that girl who was married. She wanted to always have that life. She wanted the American dream. She wanted the white picket fence, that dog, that husband. She wanted all of that.
But her mother felt like Shatara wouldn't find that idyllic life in Louisville.
I remember telling Shatara one time that maybe she should go to Florida, where her aunties is, and finish school down there. Shatara was like, well, Mama, if I go down there, he might not want to go with me. And I told Shatara, if he loves you, he'll follow you.
But the draw of the street was just too powerful for Craig.
If you stuck in the hood and you stuck in that mind frame where it's just all about money, drugs, guns, it's hard to move past that and do something else because you're so used to it.
Morris tried to convince his sister to focus on what's best for her.
Every once in a while, she would come to me and she would just, have a heart-to-heart with me about what's going on. And I would tell her, like, sis, at the end of the day, you gotta make sure that you okay. Like, I understand that this is someone who you care about, someone you're trying to build a life with, but you gotta make sure that you're okay.
Then, Shatara got news that made leaving Craig even more difficult.
Shatara found out she was pregnant. She told me she was happy, and she was happy with him. So I figured she'd be happy having the baby. She was brought up to be about family. We take care of one another.
She didn't want to leave him and the baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, take the baby from him. She wasn't eager to leave that behind for anything. Leave him behind for anything.
Shatara continued trying to pull Craig from the streets, but instead found herself being sucked into that culture.
My sister was living a double life. Daytime, she's going to school, she's working, she's doing all that. But nighttime, when the sun go down, we in the streets with it. If that meant popping the pills, running around, beating up females we got beef with, she was with it. But she was really like night and day sometimes.
In April 2012, Shatara was arrested for assault and wanton endangerment, but thankfully no one was injured at the time. If Craig couldn't join Shatara to start a new life in Florida, then she was going to join Craig's life in his neighborhood. And eventually, that was going to lead to trouble.
While Shatara was totally committed to Craig, she had crossed paths on the street with Tyson Mims.
My sister was cool with Tyson and CJ. She actually had been knowing Tyson longer than she knew CJ. She came to me and she said, bruh, I got some stuff going on. And she's like, Tyson was telling me that he gonna do something to CJ.
The issue apparently had something to do with a murder that had occurred years prior, where Craig had testified at the trial. Apparently, the perpetrator was somehow related to Tyson Mims, and Mims never got over it.
My sister asked me, she said, bro, what can I do? And I just told her the truth. I was like, there's nothing that you can do because it's too deep. There's blood involved in this situation. People have lost their lives. People have been hurt in this situation. I said, but the best thing you can do, baby, is just stand to the side. You gotta let it play out. If you involve yourself in it, it's not gonna be good for nobody.
While detectives have answered many of the questions surrounding the first shooting, they still need to learn why Makiba Lee was killed. And to do that, the shooting of a civilian by a police officer sparks an immediate internal investigation by the Louisville Police Department's Public Integrity Unit.
Anytime there's a police-involved shooting, which means that a police fired their weapon, there's an internal investigation to make sure that the detective or the officer has done everything in accordance with the law and policies.
Within hours of the shooting, officers who were in the area at the time of the shooting are extensively questioned. The investigation determines that sometime after the initial shooting, Makiba Lee arrived at the scene and wanted to see her boyfriend.
There was an officer whose job was to prevent anyone from wandering into the scene and possibly contaminating evidence. And he described a woman who approached him and asked, "Who got shot? Who got shot?"
The officer asked the woman who she was, and she said, "That's my baby daddy. Tyson's my baby daddy."
The officer was adamant that he couldn't let her through, and she became angry and started screaming, "This ain't over."
The officer watched Makeba, who was with a friend, walk away and disappear into the crowd. A few minutes later, Makeba returned and again asked about Tyson.
Makeba got extremely upset and started yelling at the crowd, screaming profanity, saying things like, "F you, this is some BS, this ain't over, F you, payback." Obviously, seeing the father of her child was an extremely traumatic event for Makeba, and you can certainly understand why she was so upset.
Makeba and her friend walked toward a large grassy area at the corner of 32nd and Greenwood, right where the WAVE news van was parked.
The officers see a crowd of people begin to gather in that area, and they worry that a fight is going to break out. So he grabs his partner and starts heading towards the field to try to prevent any violence.
Suddenly, another woman entered the picture. It was Shatara Goldsmith, who had come to the area in search of her boyfriend, Craig.
Shatara learns that Craig is dead, and like Makeba, she becomes extremely upset. Makeba's screaming at the crowd that she wants payback or retribution, and Shatara likely feels the same way.
Shatara had a license to carry a concealed weapon, so she always kept her gun on her.
It is not completely clear if Shatara knows Makeba, but Makeba is making enough ruckus for Shatara to be able to tell that she is related to the guy that killed her boyfriend. As the officers approach the grassy area, one of the officers see Shatara hold a gun up in the air and point it at Makeba. There are over 30 people in the general area, and they scatter everywhere. Of course, officers are trained to respond differently than regular people.
The officers screamed verbal commands for the woman to drop the gun.
The two officers are saying, drop the weapon, police." At the same time, they are lining up a shot to take out the shooter if they have to.
Shatara stood above her, continuing to fire bullets into her body at nearly point-blank range.
Everything just clicked off, and she pulled that gun out, and she shot every bullet she had into that girl.
She just keeps firing at Makeba. The officers, they describe it as an execution. One of the officers, he maneuvers his body so that he can have a clean shot without hitting an innocent bystander.
The officer hit Shatara in the leg. Suddenly, she then turns toward him, her gun pointed straight at his chest.
The officer immediately realizes that he is in her sight, so he fires 2 more. One officer tried to help Makeba, but she is shot multiple times and dies on the scene.
Shatara, in intense pain, asked the officer for help.
Shatara asked the officer, "Do you think I'm gonna lose my baby?"
Shatara was only 2 months pregnant, so she wasn't really showing, but she was even more so concerned because her boyfriend was gone.
Shatara tells the officer that if he gets her help, she would tell him exactly what happened.
A few minutes later, the ambulance arrives and they put her on a gurney. But the officers, they are so busy that they don't have time to talk to her before she goes to the hospital.
The internal investigation clears Louisville police officers of wrongdoing, determining that they were justified in using force to disarm Shatara.
So Shatara just murdered a woman in cold blood and was also a risk to many people nearby. So that was the account of the police officers. But the question is, will Shatara tell a different story?
After fatally shooting Makeba Lee, Shatara Goldsmith is herself shot by a Louisville police officer. The day after the shooting, Shatara is questioned at the hospital by detectives. But she claims she doesn't remember anything about the shooting.
She basically said that all she remembered was Craig being on the ground. And then she heard someone saying, she would be next. And then the next thing she remembered was bullets hitting her. She absolutely could not remember anything involving the shooting of Makeba.
Who knows where her mind was at the time, you know what I'm saying? She was probably so devastated that she probably wasn't even thinking at all or thinking right at all.
When someone goes through an extremely traumatic experience, it can cause them to react and do something they wouldn't normally do. I believe that day when she saw Craig's dead body lying on the ground, she realized that she wasn't going to get the perfect life that she so much wanted. And so she lashed out at the only thing she had available to her, the girlfriend of the man she believed to have killed Craig. She didn't really kill for her man as much as she did because of her man.
The trauma of being shot causes Shatara to lose her pregnancy.
She was highly, highly, highly upset because Shatara doesn't have any children, and that would have been her first child.
3 days after the shooting, Shatara is released from the hospital and booked into jail. She's charged with murder and wanton endangerment.
And I told her, like, sis, you know, I don't condone what you did. Because I don't condone taking life. I'm gonna ride in this car with you. I'm on your side. Right, wrong, good or bad, whatever. And she told me, like, she's not proud of it. She's not proud. It's not something that she walks around with that she feels like she was justified for. And I wanna make this clear for everyone. She don't feel justified for it. She don't feel like she was right for it, any of that.
On Monday, May 21st, 4 days after the shootings, a funeral for Makeba Lee takes place at Portland Memorial Baptist Church in West Louisville.
Attending Makeba's funeral was as sad as it could be, and you felt the weight in that space where her services were happening at. The weight was deep, the loss is deep, and people's hearts went out to our entire family.
There were concerns amongst the family and community in general that there might be more violence, perhaps retaliation against the Lee family. And so there was a very heavy police presence outside of the funeral.
Unfortunately, over time, because of the redundancy of violent crime acts, the police presence at funeral homes has been kind of a staple in Metro Louisville now, because funeral providers will ask for that. Families were asked for that, and they deserve that, to try to have some sense of peace in regards to what has happened to their loved one.
It's a scene that's repeated in the funerals for Craig Bland Jr. and Tyson Mims.
When you look at the Lee family, the Bland family, the Mims family, the Goldsmith family, when you look at that situation, from my perspective, you gotta look at it from a perspective of devastation across the board. So all you can do is be sympathetic to the constant, unfortunate cycle that we've been subjected to when these things happen, of trying to figure out when will we see better days.
In March 2015, Shatara enters an Alford plea to the charges against her.
An Alford plea means that you don't take responsibility for what happened, but you understand that there's enough evidence to show that you were responsible.
For some, the plea raises eyebrows.
There was enough evidence of what happened and what she did. Everybody saw it. But the court system in this country works in weird ways that are hard to understand. There were a lot of people involved in that violence, and a lot of those people live in that neighborhood, and that violence continues. So even though a lot of people saw it, that doesn't mean after the fact that they felt safe saying what they saw.
The Commonwealth attorney said that if they would have took this case to trial, that they probably would convict her of manslaughter instead of murder.
Shatara is sentenced to 25 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 20.
Makeba's mother, she was so frustrated about the light sentence for such a cold-blooded murder that she called it a slap on the wrist.
I don't think Shatara got a slap on the wrist. I don't think she got a slap on the wrist at all. And I understand that once your child dies, that child is not coming back, but there are circumstances to everything. And I know that Shatara didn't do it purposely, that she snapped, that was something that she didn't mean to do. And so I don't think 25 years of her life or 20 years of her life is a slap on the wrist. 20 years is a whole lifetime for some folks.
At the hearing, Shatara does take responsibility for her actions, while continuing to claim she doesn't really know why she killed Makiba Lee.
Makiba's death was completely senseless. She didn't do anything wrong. The only thing she was doing was mourning the death of her man, so she had no reason to be killed by Shatara.
Shatara's very remorseful, and she's very sorry. She's sorry for Makiba. She's sorry for Makiba's child that is raised without a mother. And she's sorry that all of that happened. We've had conversations where she was like, Mama, if I could do it all over again, I just would have went to Florida and none of this would have happened.
Shatara is serving her time at Kentucky's Correctional Institution for Women, Pewee Valley. But her popularity among prisoners doesn't prevent her from getting into trouble. In fact, it seems to add to it.
Every time something goes on, they always making it like Shatara is the one who's causing all these problems, or they put her in the hole a lot and everything, because she is opinionated and she tells them, you know, that she's a human being and she has rights. And when she tries to stick up for her rights, then they want to stick her in the hole all the time.
Those who understand 2012 can never erase it from their mind. It will go down as one of the saddest, heartbreaking days in Louisville Metro history. Simple as that. There's no other way to describe it. Not from my perspective.
This was one of the deadliest and most violent days that we had experienced. And so after that, the mayor put together a task force to deal with the crime in the city and in the Parkland neighborhood, in those neighborhoods that repeatedly see the crime, pulled together a lot of members of the community to come up with some solutions to stop it.
But solutions have proved elusive.
So did 2012 and that earth-shattering devastation change the behavior? Not necessarily so. Because the evidence is really strong right now that we're in a deeper hole, even compared to back then with the data and the numbers. Diseases are not easily cured, right? Violent crime situations are not going to be easily cured. That does not mean you don't keep treating the situation. We have to keep treating it. We have to keep putting resources towards it.
We'll never find solutions as long as people will continue to take the law in their own hands. The cycle of retribution needs to be stopped. Shatara may have thought she was doing this for Craig, but nothing she could do would bring him back. Instead, she ruined her life and that of Makiba's child, who will grow up without a mother or a father.
She was a strong-willed survivor who stood up for others.
To see her mother murdered made her who she was.
She became an advocate for victims of domestic violence.
She's like, I'm not gonna ever let this happen again.
But instead, she also met a horrific end.
They saw what looked like a head.
We don't know if it's body parts.
I just chopped this girl up.
What kind of an animal does that?
All the signs point to domestic violence.
This was a crime of passion.
You are gonna look at the boyfriend.
He was very obsessive with her.
Those red flags definitely can escalate.
Or was her death collateral damage?
It was just in her nature to try to help.
There was a domestic dispute that got physical.
Her friend is trapped.
Screaming.
August 24th, 2018. It's a sunny Friday morning in the Bronx, New York City's northernmost borough, and home to landmarks like Yankee Stadium and the Bronx Zoo.
People were enjoying themselves. It had been a little rainy a few days before, so people were just getting out.
Many of them are heading a few blocks south of the zoo to Crotona Park.
This is one of the biggest parks in the Bronx. You got kids playing.
And Parks Department employees are working hard to keep things clean.
They were going around picking up trash when one of them noticed a couple of bags dumped on the side of the road.
Which would not seem like a big deal in a park. There's trash bags all the time.
But when the park worker investigates, it's soon obvious she's dealing with more than just illegal dumping.
She went over to the bag and opened it, and inside saw what looked like a head.
She immediately calls 911.
911, where's emergency? I'm calling from the Parks Department, Crotona Park South and Franklin Avenue. We need PD because we have two big plastic bags and with hair in it, so we don't know if it's body parts.
Hey, go ahead, back up.
Police came, they opened the bag, they saw there were some body parts inside.
The victim appears to be a young Hispanic female.
The body's decomposing. They couldn't identify who this person was.
NYPD 8713. Start major crimes are our location. Got a deceased Hispanic female, 20s to 30s. Check and see if you have an arm.
But when the officers ask dispatch to run a missing persons check, they get a tentative hit.
A Bronx woman had just been reported missing by her family 2 days earlier.
Got one hit, a 25-year-old, Lisa Marie Velasquez.
Lisa Marie Velasquez had known a lot of tragedy in her young life.
When she was 12 years old, she was in an apartment with her mother and two younger siblings when her mother's ex-boyfriend broke into the apartment.
The ex-boyfriend had stabbed and killed her mom in front of Lisa and her siblings.
Just to know that the kids witnessed this, it devastates me. No child should endure this. They still have their nightmares.
But Lisa never let her childhood trauma limit her.
After her mother's murder, Lisa and her siblings moved in with their grandmother.
Grandma was at that stage that she had just retired. So Lisa had to take the role of mother, father, and everything in between.
Both of her younger siblings were also special needs, which added to Lisa's level of responsibility.
It was difficult. When Lisa would talk to me about it, she used to cry. She goes, I don't know what to do. I'm lost.
But Lisa never gave up on the people she loved.
Lisa was a loving, a nurturing, a giving person. If you was in her heart and she loved you, she would have died for you.
Her mother's tragic death also triggered a deep commitment to protecting others.
She wanted to work and help with people in the community. She became like an advocate for victims of domestic violence.
She volunteered here all over the place, and I'm like, this child is amazing.
She's a remarkable, beautiful young human being who will just give everything to the world.
And she hoped to turn that dedication to service into a career.
She was in the ROTC. She was in the cadets.
She wanted to become a cop.
That's the brotherhood, sisterhood. People wrap their arms around you. They teach you to protect yourself.
But the memory of her mother's death also led Lisa to keep people at arm's length.
Lisa tended to always be very guarded in her relationships.
How'd it go with Chris the other night?
Girl, I canceled on him last minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
It took a while for me to break down those walls that she felt comfortable enough to talk to me.
That was especially true when it came to men.
Lisa always had different boyfriends.
But she was reluctant to commit.
His vibe shifted. I don't know. It was off. I Was not feeling it.
She was always go with the vibe. So if your vibe was great, that's how, you know, you had a chance.
And there was one man whose vibes broke through the barriers Lisa built around her. Antonio Wagner.
Hey, excuse me. Is anyone sitting here?
No, actually. Please, take the seat.
Thank you.
He adored Lisa, and he was very attentive to her.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
They did love each other.
Lisa was like, I'm moving out my grandmother's house. I'm moving in with my boyfriend.
It looked like she was finally starting to put her past trauma behind her.
But now, it looks as if she may have suffered an even more gruesome fate than her mother.
Police believe the dismembered remains discovered in Crotona Park could be Lisa.
When somebody's dismembered, you have a super messy crime scene.
But despite the horror she suffered after death, there's no disguising how she died.
Her skull showed signs of severe blunt force trauma.
This was not like a robbery where somebody, you know, just shot or stabbed.
The killer went through the trouble of cutting up her body.
What kind of an animal does that?
This was, in criminology terms, the crime of passion.
After witnessing her mother's murder as a child, 25-year-old Lisa Marie Velasquez had devoted her life to helping others escape a similar fate.
She was physically present, but she couldn't do anything. She was a 12-year-old girl cowering. So now, in her mind, she's like, I'm not gonna ever let this happen again.
She always mentioned how it was very important to always be there for friends.
She's a loving person, and she was just giving her all.
But now New York police believe they've found her dismembered body in the Bronx.
A maintenance worker found a body dumped in Crotona Park.
They knew this was a young female Hispanic.
And Lisa's family had reported her missing 48 hours earlier.
It will require an autopsy to determine if the remains are Lisa's. But there's little doubt how the woman died.
The woman's skull had suffered severe blunt force trauma.
Usually when you have a victim that has been murdered in such a horrific way, there is a heavy investment from the person that did it. It is typically someone that knows the person. It's a personal thing.
But can the detectives identify the killer?
At that point, they didn't even know where the murder occurred.
But there's other evidence that's always left behind. When you're stuffing body parts in a bag, fiber from your hair, your clothing, that's going in there. There's tons and tons of other things that are left behind as clues.
Detectives have the bags and body parts removed from the crime scene for forensic analysis and autopsy.
They took the bags out. They brought the bags to the medical examiner.
So now the forensics team can go ahead and do their job.
Then detectives conduct a quick canvass of the onlookers.
Since it was a pretty, busy day in the park, people started congregating over to see what's going on.
But while there are plenty of people in the park that day, the detectives come up empty-handed.
No one saw anyone dropping off the garbage bags, which led police to believe they were dumped overnight.
With no leads from the scene, the detectives pay a visit to Lisa's aunt, who'd filed the initial missing persons report.
Police want to talk to people who knew the victim.
Hi, are you Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
We need to ask you a few questions.
The detective, when she showed me her card that it said homicide, I knew.
Oh, God.
She confirms that she had been the one to report Lisa missing.
When was the last time you saw her?
Tuesday. We spent the whole day together.
We went window shopping. Went into the Chinese restaurant. Then we went back to the front of our building. We have handball courts, swings, and all of that. So we played a little bit of handball. We spent that whole day together from 9 o'clock in the morning, I think it was 8 something in the evening. The best day we've had. The best day we've had.
Lisa and her grandmother lived in the same building as her aunt, on one of the upper floors.
She was gonna go upstairs to take a shower, and that was the last I saw of her.
It wasn't until the next morning that she knew something was wrong.
Lisa normally calls me between 6:30 and 7 on the dot, because I'm downstairs by 7. And we would meet, we would sit in front of the building and have coffee. This was for the last 2.5 years, every single day. For some reason, I didn't hear from her, so I know something was up.
Lisa wasn't answering her phone either.
But I still hadn't heard from Lisa that whole day. The following day, I go upstairs and Lisa was nowhere to be found.
Her grandmother hadn't seen or heard from her either.
She said that it was very unlike her because she was a very, very responsible person, and when she didn't get in touch, they reported her missing.
When detectives head upstairs to talk to Lisa's grandmother, she also says she last saw Lisa on Tuesday night.
When she got home, she took a shower and went to bed.
But then, at around midnight, someone had called her.
She started packing some stuff, ran out saying she had to go help a friend. Lisa had a friend, Sierra Martinez. It's somebody she met when she was in school.
She only said good things about Sierra.
She says it's Sierra's boyfriend that's the problem.
And Lisa has told me that he beat Sierra.
According to Lisa Marie Velasquez's family, the 25-year-old rushed out of her grandmother's apartment in the early morning hours of August 22nd to help a friend in need.
The family believed that the friend that she had gone to help was 30-year-old Sierra Martinez.
It would be just like Lisa to go running to help Sierra.
She was always there for her.
She would help even a stranger to no end.
But had her determination to help a friend cost Lisa her life?
A maintenance worker discovered the dismembered remains of a young woman in Crotona Park.
The torso and the head were found, and it was very, very hot, and the body was decomposing.
Confirming that it was Lisa would require dental records or DNA.
And while waiting for the medical examiner to establish the victim's identity, the investigation continues.
Police started to try and find out, well, where did she go that night when she ran out of the house at midnight?
So you think she went to Sierra's house?
I know she did.
But Lisa never came home, so her aunt reported her missing.
You think Sierra's boyfriend had something to do with this?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I kept telling her, stop getting in everything, Lisa. You can't save the world.
Or could there be another explanation?
When you do have a murder like this, typically it would be somebody that is either a spouse, significant other, or boyfriend.
Was Lisa seeing anyone?
Yeah, she was dating a guy named Antonio Wagner.
They were living with each other about a month or two, give or take.
But things didn't last.
They had an argument at some point that he threw her out, and she never went back.
Threw her out, like physically?
No, it wasn't like that.
It wasn't a violent relationship, but they had their arguments.
Still, Lisa's aunt says she was happy when the relationship ended.
He's very obsessive with her. Like, he wanted to know where she was at 24 hours a day. He's calling 20 times a day.
The individual definitely has some anger management issues, potentially some narcissistic personality traits.
Okay, well, that's all for now. We're gonna follow up on this and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, ladies.
That may or may not mean that Antonio is their killer. But when the detectives get the results of the autopsy, one thing is certain.
The medical examiner identified the body as belonging to Lisa Marie Velasquez.
The autopsy also adds additional details about how she died.
She was hit over the head more than a dozen times with probably a hammer.
Then, once Lisa was dead, The killer had dismembered her body.
According to the medical examiner, the cuts were rough with ragged edges, indicating a large blade or a cleaver was used.
That's not dismembered with a little knife. That had to be something like a sword, machete, or something else.
When details of the murder appear in the local media, the news hits the community hard.
It does have a psychological impact in the community because this case was quite shocking.
But no one is more shocked than Lisa's friends.
That was one of the worst days of my life. I was checking through social media, and that's when I found out that Lisa was murdered. I couldn't believe it.
Lionel told me that Lisa's dead. I paused. Like everything literally just stopped. I just couldn't breathe. I fell into a very, very dark place. I really broke down and I cried.
And there is one friend of Lisa's that the detectives definitely want to talk to. Sierra Martinez.
According to Lisa's family, she was heading to Sierra's apartment on the night she went missing.
She got a call from Sierra, who was very upset, and Lisa, being the friend that she was, just ran out of the house and went to her friend's aid.
At the apartment, they find Sierra struggling to deal with the news that her friend is dead.
Yeah, I heard that it was her. I can't believe it.
Well, we were told that she came to see you the night she disappeared.
Yeah, she did come by.
She said that, oh yeah, Lisa was here.
She also said she'd known Lisa for a long time.
They both went for their GED together, and afterwards they became friends. In fact, at one point they were gonna get an apartment together.
But then she'd met her boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler.
She started dating him. She had a child with him, so instead of moving in with Lisa, she moved in with Daquan.
Lisa's family says that you and Daquan have been having issues.
Yeah, that's why Lisa came over on Tuesday.
She admitted that she was fighting with Daquan.
Sierra said that her and Daquan were working different shifts and had been arguing about dividing the responsibilities around their daughter.
So you called her?
Yeah, she's, like a good mediator, talking things out.
Although, according to Sierra, Daquan was in no mood to talk.
And you know what? Another thing about you, man, like, I just don't understand. Why are you like this?
I'm just trying to take care of our daughter, and you're not trying to be a good dad.
I'm always a good dad. I pay for everything. You do nothing.
What does that mean?
It means everything. What are you talking about?
Hey, it's me.
Why'd you call her?
So she can help.
No, so she can take your side, right? All right, look, man, I can't do this. Y'all have it. Have a good day. I'm done. Bye. Out.
She said that rather than talk things over, Daquan had stormed out.
Oh my gosh, sweetie, what was that all about?
And then everything settled down.
Sierra said since it was so late, she even invited Lisa to spend the night.
But Sierra says Lisa didn't stay long.
She said Lisa had spent the next hour or so on her phone.
She was calling a few friends, texting friends to get money.
I would have given her some, but I'm just as broke as she is.
But then, after an hour of messaging...
Ooh, I got some.
All of a sudden, she said, oh, I got some money.
Did she say where she was going?
No.
Sierra thought she was going to meet the person who was giving her the money.
But she didn't mention any names.
All right, hey, I gotta go.
She just ran out of the apartment.
Lisa Velasquez's friend, Sierra Martinez, has just told NYPD detectives that the 25-year-old had dashed out of her apartment the morning she disappeared.
According to Sierra, Lisa spent the previous hour calling around, texting, to see if she could get someone to loan her some cash.
She said, all right, someone's gonna give me some money, I'm gonna get out of here, and she just left.
And that was the last time you saw her?
Yeah.
She says her boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler, came home a little later.
And then Sierra said, she just spent the night with Daquan.
So now the question is, where did Lisa go? Hoping for answers, the detectives subpoena Lisa's cell phone records.
According to Sierra, she had been calling and texting people looking for money. So it shouldn't be that hard to track down.
Then, while waiting to hear back from Lisa's cell phone provider, the detectives bring in her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Antonio.
They especially wanted to talk to Antonio because Lisa's family said he was controlling.
He was very obsessive with her. He wouldn't let her breathe. So I would tell her he was no good for her.
But does that mean Antonio is her killer?
Antonio, we need to ask you some questions about Lisa.
Is she some kind of trouble?
When they brought him in, they broke the news to him that Lisa was dead.
What?
He was shocked, very upset.
When was the last time you saw her?
Just last weekend.
Contrary to what Lisa's aunt told them, Antonio told the detectives that their on and off relationship was very much currently on.
So you didn't see her Tuesday night, though?
Early Wednesday morning?
No, but I did hear from her.
He said he received a text from her saying that she was on her way, she was in a cab, and then another text right after saying, "Oh, sorry, wrong number."
Detectives suspect that text might have been meant for Sierra, or possibly the person who agreed to loan her money.
He said he tried to call her that morning, couldn't get in touch, she didn't answer the phone.
That didn't seem unusual to you?
A little.
You didn't want to check up on her?
Not really. I figured she'd get back to me eventually.
He really didn't know her friends or her family to call them to see what's going on with her, so he was sort of like just waiting to hear back from her.
However, Antonio says there was one way he could check up on her.
He said they shared an account on a money transfer app. He even let the detectives look at the Cash App on his phone.
They saw that she had gotten money that night from a Corey Drake.
Does that name mean anything to you?
No.
Whoever Corey was, Antonio said he'd sent Lisa $100.
They were asking him, was this sort of common? And he said, look, she never really talked to me about money. She never asked for money, so he didn't really question how she got money. That was the relationship they had.
At least that's what Antonio claims. But the detectives aren't so sure.
The detectives at that point were a little suspicious. Is Antonio jealous that some guy is giving his girlfriend money? Like, it's the motive?
Because according to Lisa's aunt, Antonio had very serious control and trust issues.
But Antonio insists that he's telling the truth.
The detectives again pressed Antonio on whether he had seen Lisa that night.
Antonio said he was home sleeping.
But he also lived alone, so there was no one who could confirm what he was saying.
He really didn't have any alibi.
After talking to Antonio, the detectives subpoena his cell phone data to see if they can verify his whereabouts on the morning of the murder.
They especially wanted to know if he ended up anywhere near Portona Park.
You are going to look at the boyfriend, okay? You're going to look at somebody that's very close to the victim. You have to investigate that.
However, Antonio isn't the only person they're investigating.
They were also trying to reach out to see who this Corey Drake was and why he was giving Lisa money.
Could it have something to do with her death?
Or is it possible Corey and Antonio are both dead ends?
While the police were trying to figure out who this Corey Drake was who gave Lisa the money, Sierra Martinez walks back into the precinct.
And what she has to say will take the investigation in an entirely different direction.
She tells detectives that she wasn't totally honest.
Sierra Martinez has just told detectives investigating the murder of her friend, Lisa Velasquez, that she wasn't entirely upfront with them the first time they spoke.
She admitted that she was afraid to talk to them the first time.
What were you afraid of?
Daquan?
The detectives sensed they could be on the verge of a breakthrough.
Lisa's family said that she had gone to Sierra and Daquan's apartment on the night she disappeared because Sierra was being abused by Daquan.
Lisa came over.
But in her initial interview with detectives, Sierra had downplayed Daquan's abuse.
All she said was that they had been arguing.
Now Sierra admits that's not the whole truth.
Sierra, does he hit you?
Yes. Especially since the baby's been born.
Sierra said that Lisa encouraged her to leave Daquan.
But you haven't left him?
I couldn't.
Her friend feels trapped. She has a child with this man.
But Lisa never gave up on her.
Lisa was always there for you whenever you needed her.
Lisa told me that if I ever needed her help, I can call her. So that's what I did.
She said that she had called Lisa that night because she was fighting with Daquan.
She was being a good friend, and all that comes into play in terms of how she grew up. And now, in her mind, she's like, I'm not gonna ever let this happen again. This is my best friend.
And like a true friend, Lisa had come through.
She was very upset, so Lisa came over to help her.
And once again, Sierra says that Daquan had stormed out. Although this time she says he took their little girl with him.
Daquan left with the baby, and it was just her and Lisa in the apartment.
We gotta call the cops.
He was so mad when he left. I was afraid he'd do something to her.
Sierra says that the police had come to the apartment.
Police were able to get in touch with Daquan. They called him. He said the child's all right, and they determined that there was no crime committed since he was the father.
And the officers left soon after.
Oh my gosh, sweetie. You gonna be okay?
Everything else pretty much happened like I told you guys.
Sierra said she asked Lisa to stay, but Lisa ended up leaving to go get money from someone.
I ended up staying up and watching TV.
And by the time Daquan returned a few hours later, things had calmed down.
Daquan had left their daughter with a friend.
Sierra says she and Daquan spent the next couple of hours talking things through and eventually made up.
But now she has a nagging sense that there is something Daquan is not telling her.
Sierra basically told detectives that, she thought Daquan had something to do with Lisa's murder.
What makes you think that?
Because he left and he was so mad.
All right, Sierra, thanks for coming in. I'll follow up on that.
But while Sierra is suspicious, the detectives aren't so sure.
Sierra might just be trying to get Daquan in trouble.
Still, after talking to Sierra, the detectives bring Daquan in for questioning.
He vehemently denied that he had anything to do with her murder.
Listen, I don't have any idea what Sierra's talking about.
He said after he left the apartment, he went to stay with a friend.
I felt bad about what was going on, so I left the baby with my friend. I came home and, me and Sierra, we worked it out.
When detectives follow up with Daquan's friend, she confirms what he told detectives.
She said Daquan showed up with his child between 3 and 4 a.m., stayed a couple of hours.
And when the detectives tracked down the call Sierra said they made to the police, that checks out too.
My name is Lisa Marie Velasquez. The reason why I am calling is to report a kidnapping.
They called the police because they were afraid about what was going to happen to the little girl.
There was a domestic dispute that got a little physical.
The records also show that wasn't the first domestic violence complaint originating from Sierra and Daquan's address.
Detectives found out that police were called to the couple's apartment on 4 previous occasions.
And as detectives dig into Sierra and Daquan's criminal histories, more red flags go up.
Detectives were surprised to find out that Daquan spent time in jail before.
Daquan was in jail for attempted murder.
And the details of his indictment seem relevant to Lisa's murder.
He tried to stab his intended victim with a sword.
They're thinking someone who a couple of years ago, was swinging a sword, stabbing someone, and now they have a body that's dismembered.
And not just dismembered. According to the autopsy, hacked apart with a large blade.
Convinced that Daquan had some involvement in Lisa's murder and that Sierra knows more than she's letting on, the detectives bring her in for another round of questioning.
But she sticks to her story, saying Lisa left the apartment after someone sent her some money.
She took a phone with her and everything.
But the detectives keep applying pressure.
All we want is the truth. Okay? 80% of what I told you is the truth. This is when it gets interesting, and I'm willing to take the steps and procedures to get her justice.
The light bulbs went off. She doesn't want to go down with Daquan.
Eventually, Sierra breaks down.
Sierra said Lisa did get money from a friend, but admitted it was just somebody paying her back, and that she made up the story about her leaving the apartment.
It's late. Just stay.
Sure, I can crash here.
She's like, that's what I'm here for. I'm not going over here.
Sierra said that Lisa had also convinced her to take out an order of protection against Daquan.
She's going to go with me to court the next day.
So, according to Sierra, Lisa had gone to bed and she had taken a shower.
Meanwhile, after leaving their daughter with a friend, Daquan returns to the apartment.
He went and dropped her off and came right back.
And according to Sierra, he'd walked into the bathroom with a hammer.
He comes in, he didn't even say nothing, he whips out the hammer.
Daquan! What are you doing?
I'm screaming.
Sierra said her screams brought Lisa running into the bathroom.
He's trying to kill me! What is it? When he turned around, he caught her.
Questioned by NYPD detectives investigating Lisa Velasquez's murder, Sierra Martinez has just revealed that her boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler, bludgeoned the 25-year-old to death with a hammer.
On her head? And you hit her with what, the hammer?
One time.
Okay,
One
so what?
good time.
Okay.
And she dropped.
Sierra says she dropped to the floor alongside Lisa and tried to protect her friend.
I was like, stop, 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 stop. No, stop, let me call for help. Shut up.
She said, let me call for help, let me take her to the hospital. And Daquan told her to be quiet, he screamed at her, and then he just repeatedly kept hitting her in the head.
Shut up. I'm hearing it. I'm covering my ears. I'm praying, begging. What you doing, Daquan? This is the truth. Eventually, she just stopped moving.
Once Lisa was dead, Sierra says Daquan forced her to help him drag Lisa's body back to the bathroom.
Get up, hurry up.
Daquan said, if you don't help me, I'll kill you and the baby.
Then, with Lisa in the tub, they cleaned up the blood.
Daquan took all his clothes, all Sierra's clothes, everything that had blood on them, and put it in bags.
He also grabbed all of Lisa's personal things and the hammer and put those in the bags too.
He then left the apartment with Sierra. They threw the bags out, and then they went to the store.
They bought more bags and a machete, then brought them back to the apartment.
That's when Daquan started to dismember Lisa's body.
Once again, according to Sierra, it was all Daquan's doing.
What he was doing was inhumane. That's what it was.
Then they loaded everything into Daquan's work van and disposed of the evidence in various spots around the city.
They dumped 2 of the bags in Crotona Park and the rest in another park by the pier.
It's a chilling statement. But is it true?
The detectives locate the rest of Lisa's remains where Sierra indicated.
They also get a warrant to search the couple's apartment.
They were able to find, blood splatter stains throughout the apartment.
Then they bring Daquan in for another round of questioning.
Once in the interrogation room, he denied any involvement in Lisa's murder.
I didn't do anything.
He told police that it was Sierra who did all this.
Lisa told her that I was on a dating app and I wasn't.
He said Sierra became enraged and killed her friend.
He also claimed that Sierra had single-handedly dismembered the body and disposed of it.
So she cleaned before?
She cleaned before I came back to the house.
Came back to the house.
Did you see anything? I didn't see anything.
It was so outrageous and so unbelievable that they knew they had the killer.
The detectives placed Daquan under arrest for murder.
They also arrested Sierra.
But in the end, the prosecutors allow Sierra to plead guilty to conspiracy.
They wanted to have Sierra testify, which is why they gave her the deal that they gave her.
They feel that Daquan had coerced her in helping to dispose of the body.
She was in fear of him. I mean, that's why she called Lisa that night.
When Daquan goes on trial in April of 2022, Sierra is the prosecution's key witness.
But when it's the defense's turn, Daquan continues to put all of the blame on Sierra.
That was a joke. Sierra was small. There ain't no way that Sierra will actually do that alone.
That really set me off. I wanted to go over that chair and make him pay for what he did to her.
And in the end, Daquan does pay.
He was convicted of second-degree murder.
He's sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 27 years.
That's hardly enough to those who loved Lisa.
You mean to tell me, so after 27 years, there's a chance you might get out? They say life in prison, where's life?
He's still breathing. He might be getting his behind kicked every now and then, but he's still alive.
And then, adding insult to injury, Sierra receives credit for time served and is released.
When he hit her the first time, okay, you were scared, I get it. But she could have done something.
It's not enough. As far as Sierra, she deserved time. I don't care. You were sick too.
She risked her whole life for you, and then I just chopped this girl up. I'm not satisfied.
Still, for the many people whose lives she touched, Lisa's memory remains an inspiration.
In her short life, she was trying to make a difference. She didn't give up.
I'm so emotional because I miss my man. I remember getting up every morning with him, making sure that he was getting up for work, making sure he was doing right by his kids. We will never get Sean back.
Unbeknownst to them, they're being stalked by the individuals in this red vehicle, as he was sitting side by side with his cold-blooded killer.
A lot of these cases are committed by people who are known to each other, whether it's rivals or enemies on the street.
If you really sum it up, the whole case was about revenge.
January 17th, 2021. It's around 6 a.m. when 36-year-old Lestine Robinson wakes up in her hotel room in Vinings, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. She's on a trip from Chicago with her 22-year-old boyfriend, Sean Gray, but she's surprised to discover he's not there.
I woke up, I didn't have no cover on me, and I just had on my little lingerie, and I was reaching for him. I guess I was coming to my senses. I'm like, oh, hold on, Sean ain't been here with me all night. You know, since I fell asleep. I thought Sean had crept off, and I'm texting him, and I'm like, I know you did not bring me to Atlanta to do this. Like, an hour went past and I was just laying there and I'm still texting, no Sean. I was calling Sean's phone and somebody had answered his phone. Finally, somebody picked up. I thought it was him. Then the man said, "You been just calling this phone." And I'm like, "Well, who is you?" Cause now, this not Sean answering his phone. This Sean had two phones. Then the man hung the phone up. And I called back again on the FaceTime. The lady from the front desk answers. I'm like, "How you get these phones?" Asking her. And she said that the guy had brought her the stuff. So I'm like, "That's my man's phone." She like laughed and joked like, "Well, did he lose some shoes or something?" And I'm like, "Some shoes?" I'm like, "Let me see the shoes." So I was laying in the bed. She showed me the shoes. This is Air Force Ones that he just bought while we was here in Atlanta. He bought them Thursday when we went to the mall. The shoes was bloody. The strings was scuffed up. I instantly jumped up. "Where y'all get this from?" And she like, "In the parking lot." I ran right out the door with what I had on. I didn't come through that lobby presentable or even with a level head. I came in there going off, and they were trying to calm me down. I was saying everything that could come to my mind, because at this point, y'all got my man phones, y'all got his shoes, they bloody, his strings are scuffed up, his shoes are scuffed up. Now, where's my man?
Sean Gray was born in the inner city of Chicago, Illinois, to a drug-addicted mother and an absentee father. So his paternal grandmother was the one who was responsible for raising him and his other two siblings. Sean's grandmother really saved him and his siblings. She worked 2 jobs, she worked extremely hard, and that really stuck with Sean.
Sean was a good kid. He didn't get into much trouble growing up.
Despite a difficult childhood, Sean seemed to have a bright future ahead of him. But after high school, his grandmother passed away, and things took a different turn.
Sean was growing up in Chicago at a very violent time in the city's history. There were a lot of gang activities, there was a lot of drug activities.
Sean wasn't perfect, and no human being is perfect, and we all make mistakes. After Sean graduated North Chicago High School, he was trying to find himself, and he got caught up in the streets. He ended up going to jail for a little bit, I think for like a year or so. When Sean got out of jail, he did straighten himself up. He found them a job through a temp agency, working for Abbott Laboratories. Sean went to work every day, faithfully, Monday through Friday, as he should.
Sean ended up having 2 children of his own. He was a great father, a devout father. He took a chapter out of his grandmother's book and worked really, really hard to provide for his 2 children. Even though Sean was the father of 2 young kids, he was still single. He was out there looking for love, and he just happened to find it through Lestine Robinson.
Lestine was 13 years older than Sean, who was 22 at the time, and she was the mother of his 16-year-old friend, Alram.
We were having a nice cookout, and they pulled up, and he wanted to be fed, because Sean liked to eat. And that's pretty much how me and Sean got together, from that cookout. And I was worried about what people would think about me and Sean dating, and especially the fact that him and my son were so close. Eventually it came out, and I was embarrassed at first, but after a while, it's just like, I ain't care. It was like, hey, I'm into Sean, and I want the world to know that I'm proud to be with Sean.
Lestine and Sean's relationship definitely took some getting used to from all parties involved.
Especially Alram, who eventually came to terms with his mom dating his friend.
It really does speak to how much respect he must have had for Sean, that he would give the stamp of approval for him to date his mom of all people?
Sean was at a turning point in his life. I was like, if you let me be your friend and you're a woman, I'm gonna show you we can go a long way and I'm gonna support you and everything. And that's pretty much what I did. It was like, if he happy, I'm happy. And that was the goal, to keep each other happy.
Things were going so well in their relationship that Sean asked Lestine to move in with him and his brother in the Chicago suburb of Libertyville.
At that point, I knew things was gonna get serious between us. And I had started to base my future around Sean.
So Lestine's birthday was coming up on January 16th. She wanted to do something big to celebrate, so she and Sean decided they would come to Atlanta for her birthday weekend.
It was supposed to be a romantic weekend between Sean and I. And Aram's grandma wanted him to come down for the weekend. We agreed to pick Aram up and drop him off to his grandma's house in Atlanta.
They rented a car and decided to drive down from Chicago to Atlanta. They got a nice hotel in a very nice, safe area in Cobb County, Georgia.
After a long drive, Lestine and Sean dropped Alram off with his grandmother and checked into their hotel on the 14th.
We go up to the room. We didn't even brush our teeth or nothing. We was just thirsty to be in Atlanta, happy. It just felt so good to be in another city with my man.
But now, 3 days into their trip, Sean has suddenly gone missing.
You can only imagine how Lestine must have felt, where you go from being annoyed that your boyfriend isn't in the hotel room to now it seems clear that something may have happened to him.
They had called the police and they were trying to calm me down. I just remember walking around the hotel looking for my man. I even walked up and down that lot.
As she gets closer to the rental car that they used to drive from Chicago to Atlanta, she realizes that there is blood spatter and smear on the side of the car. And that is really concerning to her.
I looked down and then I saw the shell casings and my heart got to pumping real fast.
She knows in that moment that something is terribly wrong.
Cobb County, Georgia police respond to a 911 call from Lestine Robinson about her boyfriend, Sean Gray.
The call initially came in as a missing person. So Lestine had called in and basically said she can't find her boyfriend.
I gave him all his information, everything that I could think of, from what he had on to his ID. I had all this stuff to his social security number.
Detectives asked when Lestine last saw Sean.
Right before they were about to doze off to go to sleep, Sean remembered that he left his bottle of water in their rental car. So he decided to get up out of bed and go back down to the parking garage.
They took my report and I walked them downstairs and I showed them where we was parked at.
There's blood in the parking deck near the vehicle, as well as shell casings. The water that Sean went down for was still inside the vehicle.
There was cash in the vehicle. I don't want a ton or anything, but there was cash in the vehicle on the floor.
The vehicle was locked and there was no damage to it. Immediately upon finding the shell casings as well as the blood, officers are taping off that scene, but we still don't necessarily know, was this a homicide? Was this a kidnapping?
We searched the car, took pictures of it, processed it, did everything we could to see if there was any fingerprints or anything on it. We didn't find anything. There was blood on the other side of the wall, and I believe that's where all of the blood that we really saw in the parking deck.
One of the police officers happens to look over the edge of the parking garage and notices a body on the ground, on the embankment, lying there.
Before they can escort her away, Lestine sees him too.
I had saw Sean landing And he was laying there, stretched out, flat face on the ground. And at that moment, I felt like I lost everything. I couldn't even breathe.
Sean is pronounced dead at the scene. Closer inspection of his body reveals 4 gunshot wounds. This is a homicide.
Their next step was to question Lestine.
How much he knows is a murder investigation.
About what exactly was going on in their relationship the night of Sean Gray's disappearance and subsequent death.
So one of the first things we were gonna wanna know is, what was your timeline of events?
Where were y'all coming from?
Lestine was able to tell them that their weekend began when she and Sean drove down from Chicago with her son to celebrate her birthday for the weekend in Atlanta.
So it would have been Lestine, Alram, and Sean. Eventually that evening, they drop Alram off at his grandmother's house. So the next day is January 15th, and that's Lestine's actual birthday. So that morning, they go sightseeing.
They go back to the hotel, and I guess they had started partying a little bit. She ends up drinking too much, and she stays in that night. Sean goes out by himself, and he went to strip clubs.
The night before, he went to Magic City that Friday night. I didn't go with him Friday night.
The next morning, January 16th, this is now Saturday, and Lestine is extremely hungover, so they actually stay in bed almost the entire day, not leaving the hotel until around 6 o'clock in the evening.
They go have a great time, hit some clubs, get back to the hotel around 3 a.m.
We stopped at the gas station before we got here. We got out the car and got on the elevator and came up the stairs. I came in the room, he drank the juice, he had the apple juice. I got ready to get in the shower. He said he was going to the car to get the water. That's the last time I heard from him. He never came back.
After their interview with Lestine, detectives asked the hotel for the security camera recordings.
They go with the general manager to start reviewing the surveillance video.
Lestine and Sean, they park their car, and you see another car drive by and park around the way. Lestine and Sean get in the elevator, they go up to their room. A little bit later, you actually see somebody walking along the wall of the parking deck, and they pass all these other cars, and they go up to Sean's car, his rental car. They look inside the windows, and then they duck back behind the vehicle.
At 3:32 a.m., Sean walks back down to the car, and he's almost at his door when you actually see him kind of take a step back and look under the vehicle as though he heard something. Around that time, you see an individual coming out on the passenger side of his vehicle, and at some point, they are actually face to face. And you can't tell whether any words are exchanged at that time, but they are staring at each other dead in the eyes for several seconds before Sean takes another step or two towards his vehicle.
That's when the shooter, he actually had his gun down by his leg already. When he came out, pulls it up, starts shooting.
You see Sean run and actually jump that small barricade as this individual is continuing to fire at him and actually reaches over the barricade to fire off several more rounds as Sean is trying to flee.
As the suspect is running away, you see this red Toyota Corolla pull up, stop. Suspect runs up to the door, pulls on it, gets in with a gun in his hand, and they drive off out of the parking deck.
No property was taken from Sean. He still had his wallet on his person when he was discovered. This is absolutely a targeted murder. It's clear from the evidence that this is targeted. So why Sean? Why Sean Gray?
Given Cobb County detectives their first lead in the murder of Sean Gray. They think they're after at least two people, the shooter and the getaway driver.
So this was a very lucky case in the sense that officers were able to get a perfectly clear image of the tag of the red vehicle. Almost immediately, law enforcement is running the tag of that red vehicle, and it comes back to a woman who lives in Atlanta.
On the video, both the shooter and the driver appear to be men, so authorities focus on the registered owner's address.
So we look for every male that's associated with that address, and we find one guy that's old enough to be involved, to be as old as that guy was, and his name happens to be Ashley Davis. Once we had him identified, we took an arrest warrant. We started calling for assets to pick him up. But every SWAT team, the Marshal Service, Georgia State Patrol, anybody that could actually serve that arrest warrant for us, help us out, were all tasked out to the Capitol. They believed that there was going to be riots at the Capitol because of the election. So we actually had to wait 4 days.
Authorities used the time to learn more about Davis.
Investigators are able to use social media pages for their investigations. They're able to determine who people are communicating with, who their friends are, where they might have been at certain times and dates.
We know that our victim was from Chicago, had never been to Atlanta before. So Detective Knight is going through Ashley Davis's Facebook account to figure out what connection he might have to Chicago.
All of his little Facebook friends, all of his posts, there's one single connection with somebody from Chicago, and it's Jay Bracey. I don't know what his real name is, anything like that. So I reached out to some of the jurisdictions up around North Chicago area. I actually got in touch with one of their crime analysts, and I sent them Jay Bracey's Facebook page.
While the Chicago crime analyst works on identifying Jay Bracey, authorities in Georgia finally take Ashley Davis into custody.
So January 21st, Ashley Davis is actually picked up by U.S. Marshals. He's brought to Cobb County Police Headquarters for an interview.
He claims he had nothing to do with the shooting.
Me and my girl were beefing, and she went out to mess with some dudes. I went out to try to find, I ain't gonna lie, I was trying to solicit. Okay. I'm not even gonna lie.
So, do you remember being in Cobb County?
I don't actually at that time, no.
Investigators get a search warrant for Davis's phone and find more incriminating evidence.
We do a phone extraction, and in doing so, Detective Knight noticed that there was some text message exchange around the time of our homicide where Ashley Davis is texting someone who's saved in his phone as Jay Chi-Town.
You start looking in the thread of those text messages between Ashley and this Jay number. And you see there's screenshots from the B-Way crew page where they've just arrived in Atlanta.
There's a picture taken from the Courtyard Marriott where Sean Gray was staying and was discovered. Why is Jay Chi-Town sending a text of this screenshot from Facebook to Ashley Davis?
Gang squads in Chicago and Atlanta are not aware of the B-Way crew. So what is their connection?
In that extraction of Ashley's phone, probably 2.5 hours after murder, you see him text Jay Chi-Town, "Hey, dump the line."
We found out that meant change your phone number, get rid of that phone line, and get a new phone number. There was also several text messages about a tracker and where particular individuals were. And that really got Detective Knight's attention.
They had said delete the app with the tracker, made me think there was a GPS tracker. I saw the surveillance video where he's behind the car, so at that point we're like, maybe he was putting it on or taking it off, or I don't know.
By now, the crime analyst in Chicago thinks they have identified the man known as Jay Chi-Town and Jay Bracy. It could be a man named Jamar Bracy.
Jamar's actually served time in the Illinois State Penitentiary up there, and he's living in the Atlanta area now with his brother.
If Jamar Bracy and Ashley Davis were involved, who was the driver and who was the shooter? Now that they have a name, investigators dig into Bracy's phone records.
So we know we want a court order for those cell phone records, and we want to know where that device was at the time of our homicide.
Let's see, he's got location history right near where the victim is killed. And I also see he has location history where a gas station was, where I know my victim was. We found a car in his name, tag number, and we ran that tag number through our license plate reader system. And on the day that the victim got to town, Jamar Bracy's car was seen on tag readers in Cobb County around that hotel multiple times for several hours in that area.
Jamar Bracy was sitting at that hotel from 1 a.m. on Friday, January 15th until about 11:45 a.m. So you're talking about 10 and a half hours.
Who does that? Someone who is absolutely positively obsessed.
A haunting clue comes when analysts study Bracy's social media.
On a Facebook post he made just after the murder, he said, "Hurt me, I'll let karma do its job. Hurt my family, I'll become karma."
County detectives now have two suspects in the murder of Sean Gray, Ashley Davis and Jamar Bracy. They hope Sean's girlfriend, Lestine Robinson, can help them understand the mysterious B-Way crew.
I asked her to come in for another interview. I asked her to go through the timeline again, which she did exactly the same as she did before. Oh, she's very, very consistent.
Your son, you go by like Broadway something?
B-Way crew, it's like 6 of them on that Facebook page.
Lestine explains the B-Way crew is a small group her son Alram created with friends back in Chicago, and it seems Jamar Bracy had it out for them.
I did a search warrant on their Facebook page. In that search warrant, I got their message contents. And one of the conversations was between the B-Way crew page and Jay Bracy. Jay Bracy messages them, "Hey, I need to know who shot my nephew."
Turns out there was a drive-by shooting in Chicago on January 6th, 11 days before Sean was killed.
Chicago Police Department informs Cobb County Police that drive-by shooting involved 16-year-old Brandon Walker being shot in the neck. Brandon Walker is actually Jamar Bracy's nephew. Although there is some significant and permanent damage, he does end up surviving.
Jamar Bracy wanted to find all of the correlations and all of the potential players that may have been involved in this drive-by on his nephew.
The messages reveal Bracy believed the B-Way crew and Lestine's son Alram were tied to the drive-by when he saw a photo Alram posted that showed the apartment complex where the shooting took place.
Now, Alram was a big Facebooker, and prior to him and his mother and Sean moving out to Libertyville, Illinois, he took a picture of his mother's front door in his old neighborhood and posted it to Facebook.
Seeing that photo, Bracy messaged Alram to confront him.
Alram vehemently denied having anything to do with the drive-by shooting, telling Jamar that he had moved from that apartment complex, he was not there, he has no idea who was involved with it.
Authorities also find messages sent to Alram by Jamar Bracy's sister, Kirby Bracy Walker, the mother of the drive-by shooting victim.
Kirby Walker did reach out to Alram on Facebook to question him about what exactly happened the night of the drive-by as well.
They're responding saying, we used to live there. Why would we shoot up our former residence? That doesn't make any sense.
But then Jamar began questioning him about, well, if you didn't do it, who did? I need their information. I want to contact them. I need to know who was involved in this drive-by.
At that point, BUA crew is like, yo, man, pump the brakes. You're asking way too many questions. I'm out. I don't want to have this conversation anymore.
So Alram quits responding, just chalks it up to a weird interaction, and keeps using Facebook like normal.
The Facebook warrant also reveals Alram was the one who posted the photo outside the hotel, never realizing what Bracey might do with it.
Not even an hour after Sean, Lestine, and Alram arrive at the hotel, Jamar Bracey sends that screenshot of the post that they've arrived in Atlanta to Ashley Davis. So now Detective Knight sees, okay, some sort of shooting happened in January of 2021, about 11 days before our murder, and all of a sudden Jamar Bracey is in Atlanta committing a murder of this guy, Sean Gray, who's from Chicago. So how does this fit together?
Investigators think that when Jamar couldn't get information from Alram, he decided to target him.
Jamar now feels like he needs to get to the bottom of what happened.
He was fueled by revenge, and he was gonna get payback for his nephew.
Investigating the murder of Sean Gray, Georgia police believe the getaway driver was Ashley Davis, whom they have in custody. Now, they're after the alleged shooter, Jamar Bracey.
Detective Knight took an arrest warrant for Jamar Bracey, charging him with the murder of Sean Gray. And on February 24th of 2021, U.S. Marshals located him in North Carolina, where he was taken into custody.
I went to DeKalb County and interviewed him at the jail, which once I started asking him about Cobb County, he said he didn't have anything he wanted to talk about and asked for a lawyer.
I don't know if I should be going to say I have a lawyer.
That's up to you, man.
Yeah, I think I want a lawyer.
You don't want to talk to me, cool, yeah, whatever. But I'm going to listen to your jail calls anyway. And you say some interesting things on there, like talking about his blood, which is Ashley Davis.
Hey, do me a favor.
No.
All my social medias, don't get in no inboxes on them. Don't make no comment, don't talk about nothing. Yeah?
Yeah.
They trying to put a first-degree murder on me just for free blood of post. I'm gonna sue the damn these.
And at one point, he gives his Google account information.
At this point, Detective Knight got a court order for Jamar Bracey's Google records. If you have an Android device, you're required to have a Gmail account in order to set up the phone. And from there, Google is tracking everything that you do. In going through those Google records, we also find an email from Optimus. Now, Optimus is a company that provides tracking services, and they have an app associated where you can actually be keeping tabs of the tracking device, seeing where it is on your cell phone. So we see an email where Jamar Bracey is actually signing up for that tracking service.
It took me about a week and I got a search warrant for Optimus GPS tracking and all their history.
The police were able to determine that Lestine and Sean's vehicle had been being tracked since the day after they arrived in Atlanta.
Alram is the one that posted on B-Way Crew saying, "We in the A," indicating that Sean, Lestine, and Alram had arrived in Atlanta. Jamar Bracey was hunting them. What he didn't realize is that Alram went to stay with his grandmother, and he ended up stalking Lestine and Sean instead. Jamar Bracey put the Optimus tracker on the vehicle rented by Sean Gray. Jamar Bracey is tracing and stalking and hunting our victim every step of the way.
At one point, Bracey thinks he might have been spotted, so he has Ashley Davis drive him in Davis's mother's car.
That evening, on Saturday, January 16th, Jamar Bracey again goes to Ashley Davis's residence. And it's there that they get in the vehicle together and actually follow behind physically for 3.5 hours Sean Gray and Lestine Robinson.
On the way back to their hotel, Sean and Lestine stop for gas.
I was like, I have to go to this gas station. I gotta see if we got some video here. So I get there, and sure enough, I get video of Sean Gray pulling up in his Mitsubishi Outlander. He gets out and he checks the car, and he goes inside the gas station. He buys his Voss water. He goes back out to the car. Right about when he's getting in the car, here comes Ashley Davis.
Jamar Bracey and Ashley Davis were sitting right next to Sean and Lestine at the gas pumps minutes before he was murdered.
And right when they pull up, Sean drives off.
At this point, it's about 3:11 in the morning, and they are heading back now to the hotel, which is right around the corner from that Marathon gas station. At 3:21 a.m., you then see this red sedan pull into the parking deck.
When Sean comes back to his car at 3:30 a.m., he is met with Jamar Bracey pulling a gun, firing on him in cold blood.
But I had told him I wasn't gonna fall asleep. But I ended up falling asleep. He was coming right back. So I thought. But the whole time my man was laying just on the opposite of the hotel, dead.
The records show Bracey reached out to his sister right after the shooting.
13 minutes after this murder, Kirby Bracey Walker texts her brother Jamar Bracey and says, "Erase everything, bro. Get home safe. I love you."
Investigators considered charging Bracey's sister as an accessory, but instead, they get her to agree to testify against him.
He ended up getting charged with malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, and then aggravated assault and the possession of a firearm.
The question is whether the evidence will be enough to convict Bracey.
A defense team only really has to interject doubt into the minds of the jurors. They don't necessarily have to prove their case. All they have to do is interject reasonable doubt into the jurors' minds.
Six months after their arrests, Ashley Davis and Jamar Bracey are set to stand trial for the murder of Sean Gray.
Jamar Bracey's defense attorneys filed a speedy trial demand, and with that means Jamar Bracey and Ashley Davis as co-defendants are going to trial together in September.
Weeks before the trial, Davis surprises everyone by pleading guilty.
Evidently, Ashley was afraid of Jamar. He did not want to speak about Jamar. He didn't want to talk about it. And he even asked to go into protective custody at the jail. Ashley did plead guilty. He got a life sentence. Jamar refused to take any deal and decided he wanted to go to trial.
Trial began on September 13th, 2021 at the Cobb County Superior Courthouse.
Jamar never made one eye contact with me, not one. He never looked at me. He held his head down the whole time.
The key piece of evidence for the prosecutors was the surveillance video from the hotel cameras the night that Sean Gray was killed.
Nobody doubted what the video showed, but we really needed evidence to show that the person on video was Jamar Bracey. It was clearly such a targeted murder that you want to know why. And it almost doesn't make sense if you don't know why.
So the goal of the prosecution was not just to make sure that they painted Jamar Bracey as the man that was actually on the surveillance video the night that Sean Gray was killed. They wanted to make sure that the jury had the full picture of Jamar Bracey as a man who was very determined to exact revenge.
I really wanted an expert to be able to show the overlay between all of these records to show how Ashley Davis and Jamar Bracey were truly stalking and hunting Sean Gray. So the expert we hired was actually able to put together an animation that showed the Optimus tracker records coupled with Ashley Davis's records and Jamar Bracey's records. And it was almost like a cat and mouse game where you would see the Optimus tracker moving along, and at the same time, right behind the Optimus tracker were Ashley Davis and Jamar Bracey. This was absolutely a revenge killing where he hunted and stalked Sean Gray, ultimately leading to his death.
But the aim of Bracey's revenge was off.
His amateur sleuthing led him to the wrong person. He had no idea that Sean Gray was not Al Rom and was not any member associated with B-Way crew. He never cared to put two and two together.
Bracey's lawyers present a different theory, one meant to plant a crucial seed of doubt.
Jamar Bracey had a twin brother, and during the defense, they wanted to allude to the fact that perhaps Jamar Bracey's twin brother had his cell phone during this time period. They didn't want to go as far as saying Jamar Bracey's twin brother committed the murder, but they certainly were trying to get the phone out of Jamar Bracey's hand.
I guess it was their case to say that Jamar wasn't the person who committed the murder, but the jurors did not buy anything that he was selling.
On September 21st, 2021, the jury returned a verdict of guilty on all counts.
The judge sentences Jamar Bracey to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I don't believe that they charged anybody with his nephew's shooting. If you really sum it up, the whole case was about
बेकदरां नाल प्यार वदा के बेकदरां नाल प्यार वदा के दुख वे उठाया पारा दिल भी टूटिया आस भी मुकी जहां बेकदरां यारा दिल भी टूटिया आस भी मुकी जहां बेकदरां यारा असला संग जने की करिए असला संग जने की वे करिए नस्ला तक नहीं भूल दे बेनस्ला संग ने की करिए उल्टियां चाला चल दे बेनस्ला संग ने की वे करिए उल्टियां चाला चल दे पालन सौखे होंदे ओके पालन मापे पिछली उमरी इस नुक्ते दी समझ आ जांदी आपे पिछली उमरी इस नुक्ते दी समझ आ जांदी आपे बहुते यार बनावण वाले बहुते यार बनावण वाले रह जाते ने कल्ले असां ते लुक लुक रोंदे देखे पकड़िया ना पल्ले असां ते ओ लुक लुक रोंदे देखे पकड़िया ना पल्ले गई ओ जवानी आया मैं बुढ़ापा जाग पईया सब पीड़ा हुण किस कम मोहम्मद बख्शा सौंफ जवैन हरीड़ा हुण किस कम मोहम्मद बख्शा सौंफ जवैन हरीड़ा खबर निमाणी आवाजा दे दिया मेरे आमज़माना देप तलाई मिटी दिए पत्थरां दा विसराना देप तलाई मिटी दिए पत्थरां दा विसराना पर पर कूका मिटिया पांदे पत नहीं पांदे फेरा पढ़ दरूद करावल जादे पत नहीं पांदे फेरा हिजर तेरा जे पानी मंगे हिजर तेरा जे पानी मंगे खून ना दे गेड़ा दिल करदा तेनू कोल बिठा के दर्द पुराने छेड़ा दिल करदा तेनू कोल बिठा के दर्द पुराने छेड़ा मैदान कयामत वाले हर कोई लेखा पर सी बिच मैदान कयामत वाले हर कोई लेखा पर सी सजना कोलू सवारी हो जांदी यार यारां दा गिला नहीं कर दे असल परीत जिना दी यार यारां दा गिला नहीं कर दे असल परीत जिना दी यार यवाले रब दे दोवे इजाजत काया दिल दी नगरी खाली होगी कंड की जद पाया दिल दी नगरी वे खाली होगी कंड की जद पाया कंड की जद पाया कंड की जद पाया कदरां नाल प्यार वधा के दुख वे उठाया पारा दिल भी टुटिया आस भी मुकी जावे कदरा यारा दिल भी टुटिया आस भी मुकी जावे कदरा यारा